Okay, just a little video today, just a little one, and one that's actually completely unscripted. Because the rest of the team are away. They've gone somewhere, I don't know where, and left me in charge of the site and able to do anything that I want. So I'm going to make a video about a game that we've touched on before, we've talked about, but never really given the treatment that I think we should. And I also want to talk about that game because, I don't know, I suppose it means a little something personal to me. It's the game that I've played more than any other game that I own or that I've ever had. Hello, quick note thing that I want to point out. You'll notice some scenes from this review have been shot outside and some haven't been shot outside. Some are at the beach and some aren't at the beach, and that's because I may have inflicted upon myself the worst case of sunburn that I've had in quite a long time, maybe ever. It's particularly bad on my legs, which I'm not going to show you, but that hopefully will explain everything. Everything that seems weird or wrong, basically it's my excuse for anything, any issue that you might have at all is sunburn. Again, Shut Up and Sit Down, pushing boundaries, the first ever board game review show to have a problem with a review because of sunburn. Now the first thing that I want to tell you about Carcassonne is, well, we have covered I don't know how many games over the years. I have completely lost count of how much stuff Shut Up and Sit Down has reviewed or made jokes about. And the thing is, through all that time, before I even began Shut Up and Sit Down, one thing has remained constant. It's one game I have always played throughout that whole period while everything else has fallen in and out of favour. It was the very first game that I played when I arrived here in another country to work in the Shut Up and Sit Down North American office, and that's Carcassonne. Now what we've always tried to do with Shut Up and Sit Down is remain, you know, pretty current, pretty relevant. We're trying all the time to cover new games, new releases, to keep people up to date with what's out there. We are, after all, trying to provide a service where we help people work out which games are good, what's new and what's exciting. Carcassonne isn't new, it's pretty old. It's 15 years old, I think, or 14. It's old. It's not really cutting edge, and 15 years, particularly in the current board game climate, is basically like a granddad. It's old and potentially really out of touch, and yet Carcassonne isn't. It's more like a sort of an old, aged ninja master that's sort of slightly bent over with a stick, but the stick is a deadly weapon, and the ninja master knows all the tricks, and he'll beat you every time. It's a good enough analogy. So there's a chance that you might already know Carcassonne. There's a fairly good chance if you move within the sphere of board games. And there's maybe a chance that you played it before. But there's also a chance that you haven't, because you know what? There is always someone who a board game, new or old, is still new to. And if you are one of those people, and I know that you'll be out there, and I know that there'll be a lot of you out there who have never played this, maybe because of the age, then congratulations, because this is your first introduction to Carcassonne, and that happens to everybody at some point in their life. What I like most about Carcassonne is fundamentally how simple it is, how easy it is to teach and to pass on, which is something that I've done over the 6 or 7 years that I've been playing it now, constantly with other people. It's just a tile-laying game of building cities, of building a cityscape of cities and roads and abbeys with other players, all of you trying to construct your own roads and cities while at the same time trying to spoil everyone else's construction of them, or just get in on them and cooperate in a way that they really don't want you to do. So how do you play Carcassonne? Really easily, so easily. All you have to do on your turn in a game of Carcassonne is draw a face down tile. You don't know what's on the tile yet. Draw it, look at it, go, add that to the ever expanding map in front of you as tile after tile goes down, like you're creating a strange kind of weird kitchen. And then once that's gone down, and that might be a bit of a road, it might be an abbey, it might be a bit of a city or a corner of a city or a weird shaped part of a city, you decide whether you're going to put one of your followers on it, one of your coloured followers, to claim it. If you claim it, nobody else can claim anything next to it that they add. If they put down a section of city that connects to your section of city, they can't then put one of their followers on that. Or if they put a road that continues a road that you've started, they can't put another of their followers on that. You're safe. Everything's fine. You've got it. Now, putting people down on roads and cities is great. It's a wonderful thing to put a person down in a place. It's basically what I live for, is putting people in their place. That was unscripted. But you can't get those people back until you finish the feature that they're on. If you have a strip of road, that road has to end in junctions or dead ends. You have to build that road out. Or if they're occupying a city, you have to completely wall that city until it has no unfinished sections. Then you can get the follower back and score points for what you've done, which is great. That's the point of the game. However, right, listen, right, wait, hang on. Okay, if someone else happens to be building, I don't know, a road nearby, and they have a follower coloured person on, and you've got road and a followed coloured person on it, and they happen to connect because someone played a tile that just causes them to link together, then, well, you both actually own that feature now. And then when that feature gets completed, you both score points for it, which might be nice. You know, this is cooperative, but if you're trying to score more points than the other person, it's kind of counterproductive for anyone to do that. Will that happen ever in Carcassonne? That is all that will ever happen in Carcassonne. Constantly is this passive-aggressive attitude of, well, I'm building a road here. If you happen to build a road nearby and connect with mine, I can't help it. Probably gives you an insight into like my personality or something. Everything scores differently. Roads score 1 point per individual bit of road that you have when you finish the road and pull the person off it. So if it's just, you know, 2 junctions and a road bit in the middle, that's 3 points. Cities score 2 points for each individual tile of city, unless they have a special shield icon on them, in which case those bits are worth double. So some of those are worth 4 points. And then the Abbey, Cloister, church things, I never know what to call them, they score 1 point for each tile surrounding them, plus 1 for the tile itself. So you have to sort of completely envelop them, and then you get to airlift the person out with 9 points, which is quite nice. It's nice to build around them and gradually watch the landscape form. And of course there's even more passive-aggressive opportunities to do things like say, well, if you're building a road around here, I can just put my Abbey next to it, and if you help to finish off my Abbey by, you know, laying your road nearby, then I can't help that, can I? I've never winked while playing Carcassonne. This is new. I don't want you to think that I wink while I'm playing any board game. I don't. I'm not a winker. And what happens to those wonderful, lovely, colourful followers that you have, that you've placed down on things that are now never, ever going to be finished? What happens to those people? Well, they're stuck there. They are stuck there forever. They will never come back. What happens to them exactly? I don't know. I assume that the guys building roads have the tarmac's melted and they're trapped in it, or the people building cities have walled themselves in, or the guys in the churches have opened a cupboard and it was full of communion wafers and they all fell out onto their heads and they went, I'm trapped under wafers. I don't know. And the thing is, that's a really big deal, because you only have a very limited number of followers at your disposal to put down, and it's always an important decision as to whether you put someone down on a new feature when you lay it or not, because you'll very, very quickly run out of people if you do that. And if an amazing tile suddenly comes up, something you really, really needed, and you have no way to stake a claim on it because you've run out of people, they're all spread around the board on half-finished projects, then you're not screwed. You've just made a mistake. But then if that happens a second time, you've just made a second mistake. But if it happens a third, basically don't let it happen. And it always happens. 2 things I want to really quickly mention about Carcassonne that I haven't yet and should. Farmers, first of all. Farmers are guys you lay down in fields. Fields being anything that basically isn't any other feature that you've already laid down, you know, just space. If they can reach out and touch through contiguous tiles completed cities, they score you 3 points for each completed city they touch. But obviously, same with everything else. You can't lay a farmer down in a field area that's already been claimed by another farmer, so you have to cleverly find a way to squeeze them in, you know, get them to connect, or just farm somewhere else. But also farmers can't be retrieved once you put them down. They're permanent. So they're guys that you're going to be laying down towards the end of the game, but hopefully before anyone else is laying their farmers down. Second point, if you have any half-finished features left, which you will have at the end of the game, you'll have a bunch of half-finished cities and roads and whatever. You can still score some points for those. Still score points for bits of road, half as many points for your cities, however many points you can claim for a half-finished abbey. Say there's like 5 tiles around it plus the abbey, that's 6 points. That's not bad. But you always feel a little bit sad. I do anyway. I always feel sad looking at these maps, all these features that I never quite got around to, the cities that aren't really enclosed, the roads that go nowhere. Look at the front of the Carcassonne box. Just wait there. Look, I've got it. It's in my bag, and this will explain everything. This woman, she's won. She's won, as she knows what's finished. This guy, he's just pointing at everything. He's just going, that's not finished. He's me, and he's unhappy at the end of the game, because at the end of every Carcassonne game, I'm just doing this. That's not finished. That's not finished. That's not finished. That's never going to be finished. And Carcassonne has just always been there for me. It was, as I say, by coincidence, the first game that I played when I moved here, which just happened to be because everybody in the room knew it and it was an easy choice. It still travels around with me everywhere I go now in my pocket, and I'll explain how in a moment. And it also was the game that I just constantly played with all of my last previous X's. It was our automatic go-to game. Now this particular version of Carcassonne, which is the latest edition, actually comes with 2 mini expansions in it that are called the River and the Abbot, and the River adds a river, which just gives you a different way of starting the game and actually gives you loads more setup variety, which is great. Even if you can't find this very latest edition, if you bump into I think the previous edition that's been around for the last 5 or 6 years, they tend to come with the river as well. And it's wonderful because it gives you a really large, very varied possibility for your startup area. It gives you a lot more variety in how the game can start. And then the Abbot is like some guy who walks around in gardens who you can play with if you like. All of that comes in this latest edition. There's a whole bunch of other Carcassonne expansions. So much so that the game is kind of notorious for the amount of extra stuff that there is. Look, what I'm trying to say as I get increasingly sunburnt out here is Carcassonne is a really simple game, but always full of really important decisions all the time. It's fundamentally so basic to play, but always gives you something to think about every turn. And you know what? Of all the games that I can't count that we've reviewed over the years, all the probably hundreds of things that we've looked at, I still think, keep going, I still think it's one of the very best games out there, just for the decision to impact to turn making ratio. And what else was I going to say? Pockets, yes, Pocket. There's also an app for Carcassonne that you can play on your phone, and it's actually pretty much the only phone or tablet, whatever board game app that I play. I prefer most of my board games in person, but there's something about Carcassonne that I'm actually really happy to carry it everywhere with me. It travels really well, it plays asynchronously very well. You can just have 1 or 2 turns a day, and it's like play by mail, that's technology. Yeah, it also talks to you. It plays really twee music that's kind of drives you a bit wild after a while, so you want to turn that off. And then it talks to you, it just says things to you. Usually like really late at night. It says things like, Carcassonne, it's your turn. It's your turn now. She'll never love you. Kill them. Carca, kill all the children's son. Carca, vote Ron Paul, Carcassonne, Carcassonne. So does Shut Up and Sit Down recommend Carcassonne? Well, of course. And I feel kind of silly even thinking about that line coming out. Do we recommend a 15, 14, however many years old game that has already sloshed its way around the market. Look, there are some people who are going to think that we don't need to mention this, we shouldn't even touch it, there's too many other things out there to cover, there's all sorts of other stuff going on. But look, here's the thing. Reasons to bash a game include the game not being very good, or you not having very much fun with it, or maybe the publisher behaving very cynically in how they promote it and the game being massively overpriced or something. Reasons to bash a game do not include the game being popular, or the game being successful, or the game being well known. There's nothing wrong with any of those things, and there's nothing wrong with the fact that Carcassonne is already hugely established. It just makes me feel even worse for not addressing one of my favourite games ever. Looks like I'll have to go outside again. One more addendum though. If it wasn't for Carcassonne, it's like trying to get ketchup out of a bottle. If it wasn't for Carcassonne, I might not be doing Shut Up and Sit Down. It was one of the modern board games that got me playing board games a lot in the last sort of 5, 6, 7 years, and led me to doing so many of the other things that I did. While it wasn't a gateway game for me because I was playing loads of board games when I was a kid, it was nevertheless a gateway game for a lot of my friends and for a lot of the gradually growing community of board gamers that I had at that time in my life. I owe probably quite a lot to Carcassonne, and if you enjoy Shut Up and Sit Down, you owe a few things to it as well. Doesn't mean you're actually obligated to do anything, or just play Carcassonne. Can you put this on my back? If I give this to you, will you? Because it's got on my. It's really. The worst is the back of my legs, which I'm still not going to show you. That's like, it's like I've just got somebody else's legs. Look, come here, look, do this for me. That's not finished. That's not finished. That is a disaster. That's not finished.